Hi,
Um,
everyone. I'm Jerry Rivera Wilson, and this is my colleague Gina Riley. And we are going to be talking today a little bit about inclusive by design, HyFlex learning through a special education lens. What makes this session a little different from other sessions is that our focus is really on P12 and how HyFlex can be utilized in P12, the benefits, the challenges. But in particularly, we're going to be looking at the benefits and challenges as it relates to special education and providing how it's really important for all learners to have that flexibility. So this work started for us many years ago when we were thinking about flexibility with learning. And so our chat today with you is about the research that we did with two schools in particular that has helped inform the work that we are doing in this space. And so today's session will focus on how multiple learning pathways, synchronous, asynchronous, and in person, as we call multimodal, intersect with the universal design for learning principles. We will also chat a bit about expanding opportunities for flexible, equitable, and participation while addressing critical questions around teacher readiness, pedagogical coherence, and systemic support. And this isn't just us presenting, but we also like to hear from you about advancing inclusive practices in diverse educational contexts. You'll see from the right of this, it could be your left, but it certainly is my right, some of the bulleted areas that are focusing on HyFlex models, instruct and the benefits of that, where we know that it does increase or expand instructional access through multiple learning pathways. And in addition to that, the goal always is to advance inclusivity. So as we begin, we always like to have questions, right? You know, things for you to kind of gnaw on or chew on as we present. So the introspection is, as we consider our presentation today, what problem does HyFlex solve in special education contexts that existing models do not? Reflect on the following questions. Where does learner choice exist in your system today? So thinking about the environment that you're at, which students may benefit most from flexible access, and what structural barriers limit equitable participation? Those three questions, and we've both taught, Gina and myself have both taught in higher ed for a considerable number of years, as well as in public school. But when I think about this question, and we're going to, again, the research that we're doing is in P12, we can certainly adapt. If we were to do research in our classrooms with our students using these three questions, as you know, it would be very interesting to see which students chose the modality and why. And the same applies in P12. So we're looking at, again, a tri-model design, again, synchronous, asynchronous, and in person. And this is all not foreign to you, since this is what the crux of the conferences have been about since. So we're not going to spend a lot of time really revisiting that. But again, HyFlex does create multiple entry points, allowing students to choose their learning mode based on individual needs, circumstances, preferences, and particular valuable for students with disabilities. And I want to stress upon that because if we really look at the population students that we're currently serving, we notice that there has been an increase of students who need accommodations, who want more flexible learning options. And not just for students who have disabilities, right? It's also for students who have other challenges that are not they're not under the IEP, and the grand scheme of that. So alignment with universal design for learning. And again, the key here, and you'll see in the top of 1, 2, and 3, multiple means of representation, multiple means of action expression, multiple means of engagement, creating those flexible pathways for students to sustain motivation based on interests and honoring their individual learning preferences. And that gets back to the multiple entry points that I was referring to earlier. And the multiple means of representation it's delivered using different formats: video, context, text, audio, visual aids, and really making sure that all students have access to the information and also the opportunity to revisit that information with different lenses. And so that allows them to deepen their understanding of the content. And again, multiple expressions of action. And so this is students demonstrated learning through diverse modalities, written work, presentations, digital projects, or responses, not just relying on paper and pencil tests or the formative assessments, but really just summative assessments, but really engaging and using some more formative assessments that allow the student to learn from their own learning and for us to adapt the instruction based on what we're seeing of their learning. So I'm going to turn this over to my colleague Gina. I've just given you kind of a summary of where we are, and so this will allow us to kind of talk about the specific study.
Thank you. So this HyFlex model, especially within special education contexts, positions equity as an organizing principle. So you see your learners in the center. You see that infrastructure and assessment informs everything you do with the learners, including your instruction and your curriculum. And then you see, right, you also have the family partnership that informs everything you do when you are having HyFlex classrooms with neurodiverse learners or learners in special education contexts. And then your leadership really does matter, right? Leadership has to know about multimodal environments. They have to be dedicated to equity for this to work. And so when you have HyFlex in special education contexts, four main things happen. The first is it reduces sensory overload, right? Students would have the option either asynchronously or synchronously. It undoes the overwhelming classroom stimuli, and is especially helpful for students with sensory processing disorders. You can also have self-pacing via recorded or asynchronous instruction. If you're a college student who's ever been in a HyFlex class, or if you're an instructor, you know that students will pause, rewind, review material based on your asynchronous classroom. And so the same happens in P12 contexts as well. There is with HyFlex the opportunity for a personal learning environment. And so students themselves can optimize learning space, lighting, seating, noise levels to suit them, especially in remote contexts. You also have targeted support without stigma. HyFlex is flexible, and that creates opportunities for individualized instruction and differentiated instruction. So it's a real benefit to HyFlex. We do know from our pilot study from the two schools that there had been implementation challenges and complexities. The first is teacher readiness, right? As we know from COVID, educators need extensive professional development to master the HyFlex environment, whether it be async, sync, in person, and that all together. So in our pilot study, there were some teachers that said, "Hey, I feel really overwhelmed in learning about the HyFlex environment." So more teacher readiness and professional development is needed there. There's also, as we all know, the pedagogical coherence issue, right? You need to make learning equal and equitable between sync, async, and in person. And that is a challenge for teachers. So you've got to plan, you've got to have professional development in order to plan. In our pilot schools, we also saw that there were systematic support requirements. So there were like, you have to have like reliable technology. The parent and the student has to have reliable technology. There is real benefit to having technical support staff in classroom, out of classroom to assist teachers, parents, and families. And the dedicated planning time to make all of your modes equitable is really important. So schools who are interested in this model do have to have significant resources or commit significant resources beyond the initial adoption. I will say that one out of our two pilot schools have been really successful at getting outside grants to do this. There's also, Jerry and I are in the business of preparing future educators for multimodal environments, right? This means thinking about pre-service programs that can integrate instruction in multimodal teaching. It means embedded UDL and differentiation across coursework, but also modeling embedded UDL and differentiation. What does it mean in a classroom structure? What does it look like? What would it look like in a pre-K classroom? Also, ideally, a student teacher or pre-service teacher would have clinical experience in authentic HyFlex settings. This would be incredible in terms of having student teachers and pre-service teachers be able to see, to observe, to practice in actual HyFlex classrooms. They would have mentored support, they could have time to reflect. And so, in our pilot study in two HyFlex schools, we saw a bunch of things, but here's the highlights. There were increased attendance rates among students with chronic illness and disability. There were higher participation levels with students who previously struggled, maybe students who had emotional or behavioral struggles. There was improved family engagement because all of a sudden learning came both in the home as well as in the school. There was enhanced differentiation from teachers. Teachers got very, very good at UDL, at differentiated instruction. However, the two pilot HyFlex schools we worked with had really strong administrative support. They had dedicated technology coordinators. They had professional learning communities focused on multimodal and HyFlex strategies. They also provided families and students with an orientation to really norm HyFlex. They explained to parents what it was, how it might benefit their child, what the families needed to make this successful. And they also did regular assessment of student engagement across all of the modalities. So both pilot schools emphasized that successful HyFlex really required viewing it as a comprehensive pedagogical model rather than like an added technology. And Jerry, if you want to go over this slide.
I think this is yours.
Oh, I'm fine to do it. Great. Thanks. So what Jerry and I have thought out is a framework for inclusive equity and innovation, right? At the bottom, you see student-family partnership. We know how important this is in all teaching contexts. We also know how important when we're talking about multimodal instruction, inclusive curriculum design is. We know from our two pilot schools that you have to have the technological infrastructure. HyFlex works best when there's technological dedicated support. And then you have the model of teacher capacity building, right? The teachers get professional development in HyFlex models in order to maintain these equitable and UDL based structures. Finally, there's the vision and leadership. You really do have to have leaders and visionaries who are leaders to really think about how this could benefit P12 instruction and to think about how it could benefit throughout context. And so we invite you all to join in the conversation, to share your experiences, to connect and collaborate. to explore resources. Jerry and I wrote a book in Brian's original, wrote a chapter in Brian's original book on HyFlex and P12 environments, and our pilot schools are in there. So reading that chapter might give you a good background of what this looks like. But we also want, if you are in a HyFlex P12 school and you'd like to collaborate, or if you have ideas about how this might work best, we'd love for you to reach out and share your experience. And now I think we'll take Q&A.
And I think the key here is, and I just had this conversation with another colleague who teaches in a completely virtual school. And the notion of even having parents just to have their students do from traditional brick and mortar to a virtual school, that's a hard transition. And it's because it's, especially in this, in the area where I'm located, people are very comfortable with what they experienced and want their child, or the child that they serve as the guardian for, to have that same experience. And so when, for whatever the reasons might be, that child cannot participate in a traditional environment, whether it be for health issues, or they just need the environment, the online environment allows them really the modalities that we were just talking about before, those multiple entry points, and allows students to revisit the content, and it provides a variety of opportunities that just aren't available in the traditional sense. But then you add another piece to it, and you say the student has the choice. So the student has the choice of going whether or not to an in-person biology class, maybe an online Spanish class, and then the other might be done totally remote. And that doesn't really exist in most schools. And I think the logistics associated with giving or affording those flexibilities to students is very great. But doesn't necessarily mean that we shouldn't make an effort to create more opportunities like that. And I know we are seeing a shift in, specifically in the community that I live in, because of cost and lack of resources. And I'll give you one example. And I had mentioned language before, world language class. Unfortunately, there seems to be a shortage of teachers who are certified to teach world languages. And if you are a small school district and you want to keep that as part of your curriculum, it may be very difficult for you to be able to offer world language beyond, more than introductory level. So some schools don't have it at the 7th and 8th grade level. They only start it in high school. And it's sustaining a program where there is, different levels can be a bit challenging. But if you were to partner with another school district, and maybe you made that school district, it was a virtual offering, synchronous or async and sync, that may be more economically more feasible, right? So there are a lot of opportunities, but I think getting back to my original point, sometimes the barriers are the people who have never experienced this flexible way of learning. And unfortunately, the pandemic didn't do us any favors, because flexible learning was also rolled out haphazardly, or what should we call emergency learning was rolled out haphazardly. So we'd love to hear from you. We were just giving you a little snapshot of 2 schools and their successes and challenges. And these are 2 schools who continue to offer flexible HyFlex, but it's unheard of, really. It's not common space or place. So Assam, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, so I'm just curious. I know it's like for like P through 12 for your training, and I'm in higher education, which is fine, but I'm just curious about your training for the teachers to prepare them for HyFlex. Because like right now in my institution, Like we do have training for the teachers who only teach online, like asynchronous courses, and we have training for those who teaches LVL, live virtual lectures. And whoever teaches HyFlex, we require from them to take the LVL, which is totally different than HyFlex. So I have been reaching out to our online education about revising those trainings and have specific training for HyFlex. So I'm wondering, like, what's your focus in HyFlex training for the teachers? Like, what exactly you focus on? And if there are any resources outside, I see a link in there, but I haven't gone through it yet. But if there are any resources like we can adapt in my institution to revise our HyFlex training for teachers.
So that's
Thank you.
I'll answer very quick. I know that Rena's getting a little anxious there because she wants to get to her presentation, but I'll answer it and then I'll kick it over to my colleague Gina. First of all, that's a very complex question. There's a lot of layers there. The preparation of teachers, especially individuals who have had no experience with themselves as online learners, in async or sync, okay? And you have to remember the population that you're working with, they are the individuals who were going through emergency learning. So they may have really negative experiences associated with that. And so the notion of actually preparing them to teach in a flexible learning environment, you have to help them overcome some of the you know, the negative mindset that they may be bringing in. So you have to address that. And hopefully that's addressed by your modeling of what that could look like, right? And really using those UDL principles, what have you. Now, with that said, I will say that someone who's very new to teaching, this would be very difficult for them to teach in a HyFlex environment. We find teachers who have an easier transition are those who are really teachers who have been teaching for a number of years and understand how to scaffold learning, how to individualize learning, all of that, it's ingrained in who they are. Then you can actually start helping them look at multimodal learning, because the way I deliver a class in person is very different than the way I deliver it online. They're not the same. And so teaching them that you have to adapt is difficult to do with someone who is very novice to the profession. I'll just turn that over to Gina, and then I know Rena will need to prepare for her presentation. But that's a great question, but very layered and complex.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Terry. That was an excellent answer. I just put links to CUNY HyFlex training that we use for higher ed. You might need a login. Feel free to email me for the login. And thank you all for your attention during this presentation and amazing questions. Rena, I know you want to present. We're so excited to have you present. And so go right ahead and you tell us what you need there. Oh, and I think you're muted, Rena.
Sorry. May I share my screen here?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, give me 1 minute. I think, but I think you can see my screen.
Yep.
Okay, give me 1 more minute so that I can set everything. Okay. I hope you can see it. Everything is fine.
It looks beautiful, Rena.
Thank you. Uh, okay. So if you allow me, okay, may I start? I just want to know. Thank you. So my name is Reena Tandon from St. Louis Community College, Forest Park. Uh, Thanks for joining, everybody. So today I will be sharing my work on mastery-based grading in HyFlex mathematics, and how it actually help increase the student engagement, improve equity, and support persistence. Especially in the course, I applied actually mastery-based grading in pre-calculus as well as calculus 1. So I'm going to share that with you. Basically, before starting, I just want to give you the brief idea about the mastery based grading. in mastery based grading we are focusing instead of points, we are focusing like a student what actually understand, and they have the multiple opportunity to demonstrate the learning and grow over the time. So mastery based grading system in which students are graded actually on their level of understanding, and we have some specific learning objectives and to improve until they are not getting the mastery. So this is actually mastery based grading, and you can see here like before that I have why actually the question is this, like why I'm going to shift on the mastery based grading, because I wanted the grades must be reflect real mastery, not just on the base of their points, because in this strategy more students are learning at the different paces, because traditional grading is sometimes discourage the student because sometimes they mistake at the beginning, and their scores go down and their overall grades later on, it affects. So at this if they are using traditional learning, they their grades are less and they become anxious, and they are focused more on the grades instead of their learning basically. So mastery based grading basically helped me to shift the focus on the growth, persistence, and genuine understanding of the students, understanding what they actually learn. So now I just want to compare like because in mastery based grading also I have used the active learning also. So active learning as well as I'm comparing with the I'm using the both basically mastery based grading as well as active learning. So this study basically explore in this presentation I will not show only you this how I have implemented mastery based grading, but I am also showing you some data that reveals the basically the student success and the role of engagement in HyFlex environment. Basically when I'm talking about active learning, because this conference is related to the HyFlex and everybody is showing that active learning they are using to make the students engaged basically, and active learning actually focus on the engagement through their discussion, their problem solving, collaboration, and especially whenever it is very important in the high flex environment where engagement is very important. So and mastery based grading, that is addition. If you are applying there, the student is not only focusing on the points, they are focusing on the understanding and the growth, because they are getting the multiple attempts to get the proficiency. So if I am saying active learning is what basically truly closes the success gaps, so especially in between in person as well as a virtual student, so both are important, but engagement plays a really critical role in achieving the equity. So I know I have a less time, so I will explain you what I can, like I have done the implementing the mastery based grading, continues to improve in my implementation. I have in my courses, I use mastery based grading because I have some data. Firstly, I have done without mastery based grading, then I applied it in pre-calculus trigonometry. Then I am using right now in the I have already done in the calculus 1 2026. So my basically current focus in evaluating its impact and continue to the basically improved student success. So this I am going to briefly explain you, because we have divided our course in a 30 standard. So And then we are labeling that some mastery that is labeled as M. So 24 is a mastery, and E is telling you like extra standards. So main standards specially typically required both mastery and retention. So I want to explain you what do you mean by the retention here. Basically, students are getting some chances, some opportunity to redo that exam. So I will explain you later on coming slide. So this basically structure help the core learning outcomes while still giving student opportunity to demonstrate additional skill. I will tell you about that retention also. So this is my how I have divided the standard into the course grade. uh, and I have implemented it. I already told you I have implemented in the fall 2000 spring 2025, and we did some some survey related to this, like in the first week, 7th week, and 15th week. So after that, I have compared all the data. So this is also this I gave you the idea, like I have divided the checkups, basically the what we are saying exam. So basically I told you that retention meaning student must show the mastery twice across their checkups, then they got up they get up a 3 attempt for most checkups except the last checkup, like a 6 checkup, but extra standard does not require any mastery. This is like this is my assessing standard, like how I have divided, like in mastery based grading. So this is you can see the idea regarding like retention, mastery, and emerging and no evidence. So this is just to give you the idea, and I have made the checkup so that you must have that idea. M1 and M2 is masteries, and this is my teaching schedule where I have mentioned these are their checkups. So and this is in Canvas. When you are doing it in Canvas, you can see like how the student can see, they can because they, whenever they get grades, they can see like in the first attempt, for example, in first attempt they did not get a mastery, but in second attempt they get a mastery, so they can see that. And this is basically rubric. You can see that. So in Canvas it has been set like whatever the best one, that will be chosen by the in the Canvas. So when you yes, I want to combine it with my HyFlex because I'm teaching in HyFlex classes. So I'm using mastery based grading, the checkups, basically all this in HyFlex classes. So I have done in Math 210 recently. So I am using OneNote. OneNote is very good. I can easily combine with the Teams, and then Teams created, then we can use class notebook, so student can work along with me, like if they want to get any read whenever they are emerging is means close to the mastery. So they can come and in my office hours, and they can get mastery. So I have given the chances the students. So these are the changing emerging level to the mastery. So I gave them these two options so that they can adopt whenever they want to come. They can come in person, as well as they can come and join in mean virtual office hours. So but only the thing is, in mastery based grading, it's not having a point, but to encourage the students, they should do the homework. So I recommend, I write here, if you are coming in my office hour to complete to change emerging to mastery, they must they can only come if they have a 90% mastery on that particular homework. Otherwise they won't, otherwise students, whenever you are saying no points, they are not doing their homework. So that makes encourage the student, they can come, so but they have to do their homework first, like a 90%. So I did in mastery based grading in spring 2025. Before that I teach without mastery based grading. So I have a survey and I can show you the result. Basically, because whenever you are introducing the new things for the students, definitely it is new for them too, to adopt that system. So in beginning, confidence, when you see that it's grew steadily, anxiety drops significantly, and mostly you see that here they have like a C grade, only 1A. So yeah, I know I have less time, so I want to show you about the summer. In the summer, basically, when it's very challenging for me when I teach in the last summer and I applied the mastery based grading. It makes my also confidence increase, because when I see my passing rate, I have the 12 student, and I have like a mostly A, B, and C, no D grade, no F, only one student withdraw. So that student not only performed better but also feel better about the learning, so showing growth in both academic and emotional outcomes. So this is with that, without mastery based grading, my data, you can see the pass percentage. Basically in summer 2025, I have a 67% achieved, you see that, and zero failure, and strong evidence of the student success and the mastery. uh, uh, Basically, when you saw this, in the fall 2024, I have pass percentage 66.6%, and you can see here I have A's, B's, and but when you move, I just want to jump on the spring summer 2025. So my pass percentage improved. That makes me really very happy, and it improves the student success and retention. When I did this, so basically you see that in this data, when you saw that it's a better engagement, and students showed a great resilience and persistence. This I want to show you, basically impact of the mastery based grading across the semester. In fall, high failure, spring transition, and summer best outcomes. Improvement with the mastery based grading, learning outcome, and reduce failures. This means it shows a stronger success and promoting deeper understanding, and their goals successfully achieved, basically. So if I just want to interpret result through the engagement and mastery based grading. Actually, basically mastery based grading actually clear improved outcomes, where you see that pass rates increasingly significantly. And you can see like student success is not only but about only grading. You see that I strongly depend upon the engagement. When you are teaching, if you are teaching HyFlex class, you have to engage your student, and this both helps me, mastery based grading as well as active learning. So active learning plays a key role in keeping the student involved and motivated. And when I combine both, we address not just mastery of the content but also engagement, and leading to more equitable and meaningful success. You can see my this I have already explained you, like how my, because I have done not only the quantitative, we did the qualitative survey also. I did the qualitative survey, like how they feel, like they feel improved understanding, and they said they have a reduced stress and flexibility. You see that I have asked them two questions, like are they well prepared for the next class, they are ready. So this is the data for the student. They are well prepared for the next class. They gave me the answer 43%, somewhat prepared and somewhat anxiety they feel. So next, I just want to discuss with you why active learning matters more in HyFlex. Because in-person class engagement happens naturally. You are in person, you are interacting with your students, and you are getting immediately feedback, because the students are in front of you, you can easily get the feedback. But in HyFlex and virtual setting, student can easily become passive. They cannot, they can switch on their camera, they can't they it depends upon them, they are participating or not. So it's sometimes passive or disengaged. But active learning strategies, like I told you I'm using OneNote. I'm then in OneNote I'm used to every classes I'm using breakout room, especially for the HyFlex classes. And polling I'm using the collaboration, when they are sharing their screen. Right now, even in the summer, I'm teaching LBL class, so I'm teaching calculus too. So every day, like after come giving them some demonstration of my questions, they are working in the groups. They are working together in the groups, and they are sharing their screen. And they are writing. Now I'm not using this mastery based grading in this summer, but I am using the same technique. I have already used the same way in the last this 2026. I have already done this. But yes, I really believe this. In HyFlex class, if you want to make a more engaged, if you are using these techniques, breakout room and polling and collaboration, that makes keep students very engaged. And this is especially important for equity, because active learning ensure all the students are participating and achieve deeper understanding regardless of your modality. So you can see, like my pass percentage with the modality comparison. I make it basically in the fall. You can say that this graph shows you the pass rate increased with the mastery based grading, and the most difference, important difference in modality, because virtual student initially had 0% success, while in person student were consistently successful. But by summer 2025, both groups achieved high success. And suggesting the engagement strategies such as active learning plays a key role in closing this gap. So mastery based grading improve overall success. You can see this green bar. Active learning, the improvement in virtual student, orange bar. So you see that. So this really, while mastery based grading increasing overall pass percentage, you can see here also when I'm talking about the gap to the equity in person as well as your virtual students. You see that when I have done in fall 2024 and spring 2025, and here you see that my pass percentage has been increased, and overall rate is 91.6%. And yes, in the summer my virtual students percentage has been increased. So the gap is eliminated for the both groups achieving the high success. Yeah, yes, many students, like an active learning plays a critical role in closing that gap. So biggest change is not just improvement, it is just equity, it is also equity. So these are like student reflection, because I told you we did the qualitative survey. So I have a less time, so I want to move on some important one more slide so that I can explain you the comparing the roles of active learning and mastery based grading. I believe active learning as well as mastery based grading, these are the different but complementary roles. Active learning and mastery based grading plays a different but complementary role in student success, because active learning focus on the engagement, which is especially important in a virtual and high flex environment to reduce the participation gap. So mastery based grading focus on learning over the time that helps improving pass rate and reduce failure. When we combine both, we align the engagement with the meaningful assessment, and leading to the strong outcomes and more student success. So this I have already explained you. I know I just want to jump on one or two. Yeah, I can show you, like, basically when we are doing the traditional learning, we are having the, student has multiple, they have multiple things, basically multiple component, assignment, projects and exam. But I believe when the student has a mastery based grading, they are only focusing on the concept. You see that student may earn 70% and receive a C grade, that's based on the weightage grade. But here, whenever student is reaching on the C grade, the student will definitely get the concept understanding. So I believe mastery based grading makes more knowledgeable to the students. Now, like, last one, I have a, I think my time is over. Just only final takeaway. So you can say, like, engagement plus mastery based grading improves student success by increasing the pass rate and reducing the failure. At the same time, active learning plays a critical role in engaging student, and especially in the high flex and virtual environment. So what we see in this, grading alone is not enough. Student engagement is essential for true learning and equity. So again, when we combine the both, it creates a more effective and equitable learning environment that supports student persistent and deeper understanding. So overall, if I'm aligning these pedagogy with assessment to stronger outcomes. Any question? I took 1 minute extra. Sorry,
No, it was a
really.
beautiful presentation.
Uh,
Thank you. We have time for one or two questions.
please, please. Uh, it does look. Anybody ask question? I don't know. Do you have any?
I
If
think
anybody has, please ask. I'm happy to reply.
I'm thrilled. I mean, I can say I'm thrilled to see this and see that it's that you're doing this at your college. It's mastery-based learning is so equitable, and an incredible way to get students to really deeply learn concepts. So bravo for using it. It takes a lot of courage and it's probably a lot more work for you. But it's so, so helpful for students. So thank you so much for spreading the word about it as well.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate the college. My colleagues right now, my colleague Asma, she helps me so much. My chair, they are both always help me, so I like their strategy. So thanks, Asma. She's here and she always guide me. She did it actually. So I really thankful to my college and my chair and assistant chair. They always help me to do this different pedagogies. When you are applying the different pedagogy, that makes you more content when you are getting good results. It's a work, but ultimately when you have a good result, that makes you so much satisfaction. Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
beautiful. And I love supportive colleagues. So bravo. Well, thank you. I want you to all go to that last session because there's a chance to win prizes. Thank you for your beautiful presentation. Thank you for presenting at the HyFlex conference. And we'll see you
Thank you.
super
Yeah.
soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.